Should tretinoin come before your serum? How many products should you have in one routine? Today, we're going to talk about all of that and more in the art of layering skincare. Hi, my name is Dr. Jenny Liu. I'm a board-certified dermatologist and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you enjoy learning more about skincare content, then I would love it if you can give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, having an effective, doable, and affordable skincare routine is really essential when it comes to achieving our skincare goals. I mean, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Skincare is so personal. So what works for one may not work for another. And because of that, there's really no wrong way. Maybe there's things you should avoid. There's no really wrong way you should approach skincare. Neither is there an absolute correct way. Even when it comes to layering skincare, there are merely suggestions, nothing that really has been proven by large-scale scientific study saying that you absolutely need to approach skincare in a certain way. Now, many of us are using beyond just the basics of skincare, right? Cleansing, moisturizing, and photoprotecting. So the other products we use definitely will impact our skin, and we certainly want them to work the best that they can. And certainly there are some suggestions on how you should be putting in the products, maybe some things to avoid, and the order of which they should be applied to get the most out of the products. But at the end of the day, these are just suggestions, and certainly what you've been doing, if you're seeing good results and having good improvements, by all means continue. You should not be changing based on what I'm about to say in this video or what other people are doing. So when it comes to layering, in general, we recommend starting with the thinnest consistency, finishing off with the thickest or most occlusive. And that is purely based on penetration. If you right off the bat apply Petrolatum, which is the most occlusive ingredient you can to your skin, everything else you use after is not going to be able to penetrate to do its job appropriately. In general, we say after cleansing should be serum, then moisturizer, and then if it's the morning, sunscreen should be the last thing you put on your skin, and then makeup after sunscreen. And then in the evening, it should be a moisturizer, and then if you choose, you can certainly apply Petrolatum or slug or a facial oil. Now, aside from just the consistency, here are some other things that you should definitely keep in mind when it comes to layering skincare products. Number one is just selecting products that are going to target your concerns and help you achieve your goals. Certainly, I think there's nothing wrong in trying new products because they're trending, but at the end of the day, if you just keep adding products into your routine, not only can it become tedious, it can be expensive, but most importantly, it may cause irritation and undesired outcome for what you're trying to achieve. So with that, I totally believe that skincare should be intentional. And so this is where I, in general, recommend sticking to no more than 2 actives per routine. And this is in addition to the basics of cleansing, moisturizing, and sun protecting. And this is not to mention prescription medications that you may be using, whether it's for acne, melasma, rosacea, or other skin concerns. Because the other thing, aside from just irritation, is that if you use too many products, they may not be absorbing fully, and you may not be actually getting the most out of each product. You know, majority of the products mostly interact or have its effect at the top layer of the skin, and very few actually penetrate deeply into the skin. And so when you're putting layers on top of layers, it is inevitably going to just sit on top of the skin and probably hinder the absorption of the products that you apply subsequently. For example, like in the morning, if you use an antioxidant serum, then you can choose another product if you wish that may help you to target any additional concerns, whether that's acne, post-acne marks, hyperpigmentation, or hydration. So aside from the vitamin C, you could also add in an additional serum, or here you could apply your prescription medication followed by your moisturizer and then sunscreen. And similarly, in the evening after cleansing, you can certainly apply another serum to again target your concerns, followed by a retinoid or chemical exfoliant, moisturizer, and then that's it. So the other question I always get is, where does my prescription medications come in? Well, it really depends on the texture and the formula of that prescription medication. And in general, most prescription medications, whether that's for treatment of acne, hyperpigmentation, or rosacea, they're often in the formulation of a cream, lotion, or gel. So here, there's a lot of flexibility, but basically what you want to do is, if you do use a skincare serum that is watery in consistency, you probably want to put that on first, followed by your prescription medication, and then your moisturizer. What you don't want to do, unless you are intentionally trying to reduce the risk of irritation, like with tretinoin, is you don't want to ideally put on your prescriptions after your moisturizer. Now, aside from the number of products, we also should keep in mind interactions between products and ingredients. So there's really no firm rule on things you absolutely need to avoid because of bad interactions. We only really know a few. And in those, it's mostly benzoyl peroxide that could potentially oxidize L-ascorbic acid, so pure vitamin C, as well as hydroquinone, and then tretinoin. Wash-off benzoyl peroxide cleansers are completely fine and safe to use with those ingredients I mentioned earlier. And then the other thing you probably want to avoid is just copper peptides and L-ascorbic acid, because those two could interact. But otherwise, everything else that we don't recommend you putting on, like for example, alpha hydroxy acid with vitamin C, retinol with vitamin C, alpha hydroxy acid with retinol, is mostly because of the potential irritation. And we've talked about this before, right? Products that are formulated with these ingredients together are going to be less irritating when compared to you layering each product separately. So if you're interested in using all those actives in one, I would recommend looking for a product that have those formulated together. Otherwise, it's just trying to avoid those actives intentionally, because most people don't tolerate using them together. Alternating nights of use or alternating morning and night can be a good option to incorporate these ingredients and reduce the risk of irritation. The other thing to think about is, when should you be applying this product, meaning the condition of your skin on which these products should ideally go on. So we know that some products are better applied on damp skin, while others better on dry skin. The reason behind is that damp skin, first and foremost, enhances the penetration of active ingredients and skincare in general, which is why you probably hear dermatologists recommend applying tretinoin when your skin is 100% dry, because it lessens the penetration and thereby reduces irritation. Now, conversely, certain ingredients like hydrating ingredients, humectants, for example, hyaluronic acid, because they're meant to help hydrate the skin, if you apply on damp skin, it number one may not work effectively, but two, may pull water out of the skin more. So in certain situations like hyaluronic acid or hydrating serums, it may be more ideal to apply on damp skin. But basically, it's just understanding that if you apply an ingredient on damp skin, it's definitely going to penetrate more readily. So it could work better, but also could be more irritating, versus applying on dry skin. It could dull the penetration, but similarly reduce the irritation. What is the best method of applying tretinoin? Like with moisturizer, after moisturizer, how long should I be waiting for my skin to completely dry? And again, there's no right way, but merely just understanding that it should really ideally be applied best on dry skin. So we say give it at least 5 to 10 minutes. And then as far as like which way, either before the moisturizer or after your moisturizer, it just depends on your skin type and what you can do. I recommend applying on skin directly, followed by moisturizer, as the method for individuals with more combination oily and normal skin. If you have more dry skin or trying to increase the tolerance for topical retinoid when first starting, then doing that sandwich method may be more ideal. So that is where you apply a moisturizer ideally on damp skin, let that absorb for like 5 minutes, put on your tretinoin, wait for a minute or two, and then put on your moisturizer afterwards. Now here, certainly the moisturizer is acting as a buffer, so it does reduce the penetration of tretinoin. But studies have shown that when used on top of a moisturizer, you still get the benefits and the efficacy of tretinoin. how much less compared to applying tretinoin on clean, damp skin. We have not done that comparison, but all I can tell you is that tretinoin still works. And this method, like I said, is going to be better suited for those with more dry and sensitive skin. The other question I always get is how long should you be waiting between applying skincare products? And again, there's no hard, firm rule here. I think what you don't want to do is basically apply the next product when your skin is still damp and wet with the previous product, because here you're probably mixing the two products together and certainly may hinder the absorption of the second product that you apply. So I say in general, realistically, about 30 seconds to a minute or two. But most of us don't have like 20 minutes to complete a skincare routine, and neither is that really necessary. So I would say as long as your skin is not really wet with the previous product, after 30 seconds to a minute, okay to move on to the next step of your routine. And lastly, remember Petrolatum, because it's the most occlusive, it definitely gives its benefits, but anything that applies after is not going to penetrate. So Petrolatum should always be the last thing you put on your skin, which is great for slugging. But the other thing you want to keep in mind is if you do use Petrolatum regularly, since it's so occlusive, it theoretically increases the penetration of the products that you used beforehand. So this is why in general, we do not recommend using Petrolatum on top of potentially irritating ingredients like tretinoin, retinoids, or your exfoliants. It would be great complement to just a simple moisturizer or less irritating ingredients like peptides or hydrating serums, but it's not something that you want to layer on top of active ingredients that are irritating, that increases skin turnover. And along the same line, if you're acne prone, again, Petrolatum itself does not cause acne, but could enhance the penetration and the occlusiveness of skincare products. So could potentially flare acne by clogging pores. But again, it's theoretical and it really depends on what products you're using. And lastly, just remember, because Petrolatum is so occlusive and it forms a greasy film over your skin, it is really less ideal to use under sunscreen. Your sunscreen theoretically needs to absorb into your skin and form a film to offer that proper sun protection. And here, the worry is that if you apply sunscreen on top of Petrolatum, it may not mix well, so your sunscreen may not be able to form that film readily and offer the proper protection that it should. So in general, I recommend using Petrolatum at night and then using a thicker moisturizer if you need, that can work better under sunscreen in the morning. Now, one last tip, I always recommend doing patch testing of a new product when you're first introducing it into your routine. And you can simply do this by applying a product like every day for the first 5 days to a week on either the inner arm or say a little area behind your face, where even if you have a reaction, it's not going to readily show. This is super helpful, especially if you have like rosacea, sensitive skin, dry or eczema prone skin, and worry about reacting to a particular product. Alright guys, I hope you found this short video to be helpful and informative. Just remember, skincare should be fun and certainly can take a little bit of trial and error. But at the end of the day, what you want to do is find a method, use products that make sense for you and that you can consistently do on a regular basis. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what questions you have, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!